So, getting on to the news, the first news story is with you, and it's about Game Pass going down.
Yeah, which it's almost like we kind of predicted that this was going to happen. On the last episode, we were talking about Game Pass and different variations because obviously, as we said in that show, that Sharma said that Game Pass isn't in its final iteration. There are options that they're looking at in terms of how to make it more affordable, more appealing, that sort of thing. And was it within the space of a week of us having that recording and
If that
releasing the
long.
pod? If that, it was like, damn it, we've missed the big news story again. It went down, and it's gone down in price, which obviously any price reduction is always very, very welcome. It's very rare that something will go down in price in this day and age. Everything seems to be going up in price. So obviously we were saying that in terms of depending on what you use Game Pass for, if you use obviously the battle pack, the crew pack for Fortnite, it makes it a bit more um, fruitful in terms of it more cost effective because obviously that alone is a tenner. But yeah, it is going down in price. So in the UK, especially, it's going down from £22.99 to £16.99. That is the UK Game Pass Ultimate, and PC Game Pass is going to £10.99 from £13.49. And I think in the US, is it from $29.99 in dollars to $22.99? I
That's
think, is
it.
that right?
Yeah, that sounds
Um,
about right. Yeah.
so yeah, so it's so obviously this is not long after they increased the price, which again we touched on. But this obviously comes with a caveat, as that again we discussed this in the last show. So thank you for making us look silly. Is that the price went up to accommodate the acquisition of Call of Duty? That is now dropped, which then accounts for the reduction in price of Game Pass. So it won't Call of Duty will not be available day one on launch through Game Pass. Previous versions will be, but the latest game will come a year later on Game Pass, which I'm happy with. We've
Yeah.
all we discussed this previously that Call of Duty is not the game that it used to be that we used to play. And we jumped at a day one that we'd go out and rush to buy it because the campaign isn't what it used to be. The online multiplayer is not what it used to be, in our opinion, obviously. Um, but again, it seemed like as it came to light, the price went up to almost soften the blow of the lack of revenue from Call of Duty releasing day one and people buying on Xbox.